What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. No, I didn't get a brand new camera. No, I don't have a special effects budget. I got a much needed haircut. And if you follow me on Instagram, you saw the before and after. Yeah, I had like an Apollo Creed. Yeah, it was serious. If friends with me on there, you can follow me. You got it updated when it happened. But let's just say I had to throw on my uniform again, and all that had to go. So what is an index fund? If you've been following along, you may have some idea because we've already covered exchange traded funds and mutual funds, and this has funds in it, so maybe it's something of the same. If you don't know, that's fine, not a problem. You know how we do. Why don't you find somebody in the house? Tell them, hey, log on, look at Larry's video. Tell me if you know what an index fund is. Maybe they know. If they're not on YouTube or something, showing a video, hey, this guy on YouTube asked what an index fund is. Do you know what it is? You can phone a friend, have them look at it. You can check with somebody in the house. Go ahead. I'll give you a minute. Pause the video right now. Hopefully you caught me like a funny face or something. But pause the video right there. See if you can find, pause the video right here. See if you can find someone who knows what an index fund is. Somebody know? I asked a friend of mine. They asked me, did it have something to do with like a library? I guess when they heard index, no, it does not have to do with a library. You know, like a library, like who's still checking out a book? But anyway, so speaking of books, textbook time. What is an index fund from our favorite site? Well, I don't know if it's ours. I can't speak for you. My favorite site, Investopedia.com. An index fund is a type of fund or exchange traded fund with a portfolio constructed to match or track the components of a financial market index, such as in Standard & Poor's 500 index, aka the S&P 500. An index fund is said to provide broad market exposure, low operating expenses, and low portfolio turnover. These funds follow their benchmark indexes regardless of the state of the market. All right, as with a lot of the usual, textbook definitions, you said a lot of words there, but not all that made a lot of sense. So what exactly is an index fund? Well, a fund, is just a pool of money. An index fund is just a pool of money that tracks an index, like the Dow 30 or the S&P 500, or like the NASDAQ or the Russells. Those different things we'll talk about at a later date, but essentially it's a group of companies that are diverse enough to where you can look at them and say, all right, on average, if I look at all these companies, I can get an idea how everybody's doing. So like with the Standard & Poor's 500, it's 500 companies, but you can look at it and get a good approximation about how everybody overall is doing. That's why they have them. That's why it's called an index. Like you can look at that and get an idea how the market's doing. Pretty much, if the Standard & Poor's is down, pretty much everybody on average is down. Now, there will be outliers. You may have like where the whole market's down and a handful of people are up. That happens. Individual companies are going to move, by their own beat, whatever happens with them specifically. But on average, if the index is down, everybody's down. Not always down the same amount, but that's what the index is there for. So, all right, we know what an index is, know what a pool or a fund is. These index funds can be created typically one of two ways. You got your exchange traded funds, which we spoke about, and you have your mutual funds, which we spoke about. Now, I won't go into the specific differences of them. I'm going to make a video about that later. But basically, the main difference is who's looking after the pool and how much does it cost. See, with a mutual fund, there's somebody actively in the pool, like actively mixing things up, trying to beat the market. Whereas with an ETF, exchange traded fund, it's usually just a robot. Still, it doesn't have a whole lot of that, and there's not that much activeness. And they're cheaper, a lot cheaper. If you watch those two videos and looked at expense ratio, which is cost, how much are you paying me to manage this pool? Mutual funds about 1%, dollar per 100. Doesn't seem that bad till you look at an exchange traded fund and see that they're like pennies per $100. I'm not gonna give you a whole dollar if I get the same thing for a nickel. No, I'll keep my 95 cents. Thank you very much. So the next question is, why do I care about an index fund? Why do I care about it all? Now, hearing it from me, the guy who's been doing this for a while and spoke to more people, more money than most y'all get exposure to, that should be enough, right? Like I've dealt with millionaires, no billionaires, full disclosure. I never made it to like the ultra high net worth people. But I've dealt with enough of these rich people, and I've picked their brains and I've asked them questions to where me saying it should be enough. But what if that isn't enough, Larry? I need to know, why should I care? What if a billionaire was telling you? No, I'm not a billionaire. Let's just take that off the table right now. I'm not a billionaire. But if a billionaire told you, hey, you need index funds, I'd bet you listen in. How about Warren Buffett? That's Buffett with a B, billionaire with a B. Is that big enough? He endorses index funds. And he's considered to be one of the greatest investors alive by many people. And honestly, he probably is. Like, you can't talk about top 5 without him being in the conversation. Like, he is that good. So if Uncle Warren says do it, you need to do it. So now we got the why. If me saying it wasn't enough, I got some bigger guns in my pocket and I know why. So you need to invest. No matter what you want to do or how you want to do it, it's going to cost money. Period. Non-negotiable. And your money is going to have to grow. Putting it in a sock under your bed is not good enough. Stashing it into your bank savings account where they're paying you nothing, also not good enough. There's a thing called inflation. We'll get into that at another point, but you need to invest. Even if you do it passively, meaning you're not actively in the markets, you don't have the 18 screens, you're not Gordon Gekko, you just have a modest account. Maybe got a few $100 of WeBull or Robinhood. Links in the description below. Get you a free stock. Full disclosure, I get a free one when you sign up. What's good for you, it's good for me. I like free stuff. You probably like free stuff. Let's get free stuff. But you need to invest. That's all it is to it. You're probably wondering, all right, like, I got it. You've told me I need this. Which ones? There's a bunch of them out there. Yes, the market is overflowing with index funds. Fortunately for you, I've done a homework. I've selected 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3. 3 fantastic index funds that I think you're going to do great with. And yes, I hold all 3 because I still believe in diversification. Yes, each one of these things is highly diversified. So all your eggs aren't in one basket. I still don't want all my eggs in one basket. I like all 3 of them. So that's why I'm recommending all 3, because I have all 3. That doesn't mean you have to go out and buy all 3. You can pick one and stay with that 1 or 2 or 3. But here go 3 choices for you so you have a choice on which index fund you should pick. So if you haven't gotten a piece of paper and a pencil or something to write on or a notebook, you know what? Not even notepad in your phone. Get you an actual piece of paper and a pen. There's something very cathartic, in my opinion, about physically writing things down. So if you haven't written anything down, write it down. I don't care if you get a napkin, a paper towel, you got a piece of paper. Don't write it on like your skin or nothing. That's gross. But actually write it down. So you got your pen and paper, you got everything ready, good. First one up is the SPY. I'm gonna have a little ticker thing across the bottom here. SPY. This one is fantastic. Now your bank, if you're putting money in it, is probably giving you like 0.0%. How about 10% average returns for over 10 years? Now we're talking. See, I didn't go out and just pick some old rinky-dink ones because they a bunch of money. No. I picked some guys with some chops. It's gonna matter. It's gonna really stand out. It's gonna do you well. Your local banker is not gonna steer you wrong. Now the SPY has averaged over 10% a year for over a decade. So again, this isn't some fly-by-night operation where they just started out, came in on a hot streak. No. They were around. They were around for the 08 bubble, and they was around for what happened this year. Yes, when the overall markets went down, they went down with it. And as the market rebounds, they'll rebound. That's what they do. But 10% a year is awesome. And they've averaged that for over 10 years. Again, awesome. Now, I'm not saying every year they make 10%. I'm saying over the last 10 years, they have averaged over 10% a year. That is fantastic. It's also one of the oldest ETFs out there. So I got a lot of time under their belt. Again, not a fly-by-night operation. All right, so what are the cons, Larry? It's ETF. These people don't do this for free. So their fee, what they charge, is called an expense ratio. Now theirs, hold on now, is 0.09%. So what does that mean? That means for every $100 in there, they charge you less than a dime. Insert celebration music. That's not bad. It's not the dollar per 100 that some of the mutual funds are charging. That's 9 cents. 9. I'll give somebody this many pennies for me to get 10% of my money on average for the last. Happily, that to me is easy money. That's a no-brainer. All right. So next up is VOO. This is another one that tracks the S&P. All these track the S&P, but they're from different companies that create them. Now, VO also, another one, over 10% on average return every year. It's tracking S&P. It should be above 10%. Fantastic. This one ain't got 10 years of data yet, but I went back as far as I could. It's turning 10 this year. So it doesn't have this year's data, so it don't have 10 years worth of data. But it's just as good as the other ones. The 5-year data was good, the 7-year data was good. This was on track to be just aligned with everybody else in this conversation. Fantastic pedigree. Now the expense ratio, you won't like this, 0.03%. 3 pennies per $100. That's not bad. I mean, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, the last one was 0.9, this is 0.3. Yes, that's only 6 pennies. I'll take my pennies, thank you. Yeah. So again, it's another one, a fantastic one that you can jump into if you wanted something different. And lastly, we have IVV. IVV, Indigo Victor Victor. This one has averaged over 10% a year, for over 10 years, just like the first two, but it gets even better. This one has averaged for 13%. Now we're moving. Wait a minute, does that 13% come with a high, is it gonna cost? No, same fantastic expense ratio, 3 pennies per $100. You're welcome. Insert applause, because I'm here by myself. that is what you need. That's awesome. Now they don't have 10 years worth of, no, correction, they do have 10 years worth of data. They just turned 10 this year, back in May. So they've got 10 years worth of data, and they were over 13% on average for the last 10 years. That is fantastic. 0.03%, 3 pennies, y'all can have 3 pennies. If I'm getting 13% on average, y'all can have 3 pennies. Them's almost like real estate numbers without none of the headache. That beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now, what makes these even better, you probably think, well, how can I get into these? Are they super hard exclusive? No. You can buy them with a Robinhood account, link in the description below. You can buy with a WeBull account, link in the description below. Let's say that you already have one. Fantastic. Now you got a place to put your money. Now you're going to start growing. Don't ever say, your local banker didn't take care of you, didn't give you the hookup on something. So if that wasn't good enough, if, over 10% returns wasn't good enough, each of these pays a dividend. They're going to pay you to hold it. It's outstanding, right? You probably think, wait a minute, how do they pay a dividend? Because the companies they own, being the fantastic companies that they are, they pay a dividend. And because the guys who run these things, listen, their job is just to create the bucket, not to eat the money that's coming into them. So when those companies pay a dividend, you get a little piece of that. Now, these dividends aren't going to be anything, outstanding or crazy. They're not like something stupid, but it's stable, it's simple, and it's there. So if, what you need to do, pro tip, I'm gonna tell you what some of the rich people told me, put you on the game, something called a DRIP, dividend reinvestment plan. I was gonna do a whole video on this, and I am later, but you need to take that dividend and set up to buy more of the ETF. So the next time the dividend is even bigger and it's buying more. So it gets even bigger and it's buying more, and it compounds your growth. Boom. That right there is the secret sauce. If you don't know about compound growth or compound interest, I'm gonna do a video on that. That is the secret sauce. It has been touted about like the 8th wonder of the world. And after seeing how it works, I believe it, I do. So that's it, man. That's me. I'm Larry. I'm not just a veteran banker. I'm your veteran banker. Now when people say, how do you know these things? How are you doing so well? You know a guy. I'm the guy you know. And if you got some friends, you want to put them on the game, send them to the channel. Let them watch a few videos. Let them sit down and get comfortable. Enjoy yourself. I'll be here every Sunday going over something with y'all, helping you understand things, because this is how I give back. This is what I want to do. It doesn't cost me anything. And I enjoy it. I do. I'm sitting here talking to you guys, and well, not really talking to you because you guys aren't speaking back, but I'm Larry, man. That's my stick. I try to help educate in a very simple, clean, easy to understand way. Every Sunday I'm here going over a term. If you like what you've seen and you enjoy making money, because I definitely gave you 3 fantastic ways to make money, give me a like, shoot a like, let me know that the video is what you want to see. If you really enjoy the content, subscribe, because I'm going to be here and I'm not going anywhere. Anyway, man, if you don't have an account, get started, because you're missing out on this growth right now. Link in the description below. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. All right, man, I'll see y'all later.